Hello, everybody. Happy Crafty Thursday. It is Rosie, and I am here live with you guys today. Yes, I mentioned last week that I might have to change the time, which is why I'm here at 11 a.m. instead of 1 p.m. I have a funeral I have to get to later on, so sorry about that. Yeah, so we are going to have some fun with these cute little Mama Elephant, Little Elephant Agenda stamps. And then we're also going to be using this Lisa Horton bricked window 3D embossing folder and the coordinating stencil and dies. So I'll give it a minute, but I know people might be occupied with other things. So I'll just give it a moment. See if anybody pops in, and if not, you guys can just catch this later on the replay. I still have to upload last week's video to YouTube. I haven't done that yet, but I will get to that hopefully later today. Yeah, and then I'll get this one uploaded there. So you will definitely be able to catch this one on YouTube as well. So these little guys are, I don't think they're in the store right now. I think they were sold out. But this is definitely something, if you are looking for these or any of the little little agenda stamps, if you've got any of them. I've got, there's monkeys, there's cows, yeah, I think there's cows, pigs, sloths, all sorts of things in that line. You can just drop Sandy an email at sandy@scrapshots.com and put special order in the subject line, and then list what you're looking for, and she can bring those in for you guys. I know there is some new Mama Elephant on the way, so that's going to be fun, but I will get started, even though it's just me, myself, and I. Hopefully someone will join in later. So I'm not going to color every single elephant, because what I did is I just took this, I left this on its backing, okay, and then what I did was I taped it to the door of my Misty, just kind of put some tape on all four sides, and then I stamped all of these guys at once. So then you get all, however, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 20. Then you get all 20 images at once. So I did that first, and then I will show you how I colored the little guys I'm going to use on the card. Hello, Joyce. Okay. So I'm going to try to zoom my camera. I always seem to not be able to do this, but I'm going to try. I think there's a certain way to do this. I know it's possible. I've done it before. Otherwise, it's going to be hard for you guys to see. Bear with me. Come on, camera. All right. It's not cooperating with me. I wish there was like a little button on here that just did zoom. Okay, I might have to improvise. Oh, there we go. Good, because otherwise it's awfully hard to see how I'm coloring these. Good morning to you as well, Joyce. Okay, is that clear enough? Hopefully. I'll show you just a couple of these guys. So I'm using my Copic markers. And yes, I have, kind of looks a little dim. Wait a second. Let me see. Okay, that's not too bad. It's a little dim, but it'll work. Hello, Michelle. So I'm going to use the cool grays for these guys. I mean, you could use any grays, the toners, so the teas or the warms. So I'm going to use probably just 3. I don't think I really need 2, but it all depends if it blends the way I'd like it to. So I'll put my cap up here so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to start with my darkest here, and I'm just going to put a little light line. I'm kind of pretending the light is coming, well, it should come from the other side, but this will work. I'm really not very good at shadows, but I like to add just a little bit of kind of dimension with these guys. So I'll just add a little bit of the darker first. Then I'm going to come in with my next lightest. Just add a little bit here. And what I'm doing is just going over the edge of that line and then of the darkest color, and then just drawing that towards the center. Just to add a little bit of shading, to add a little bit of interest. I'm going to go over his trunk there. I'll color one of them with just like a couple of markers. You can see if you don't have a full range of grays, you don't have to add a whole ton of colors. But so it's just kind of, so it's not such a flat looking image. Okay, and then with my lightest, so again, I just kind of dab over where I just finished that darker color, and then I'm going to fill this all the way in. Okay. Now, if you kind of wanted to add a little bit more shading, you could go back over and add all those colors, layer them all the way through again, but I'm happy with that. And I missed his tail, so I'm going to go take my C4. How is everyone today? It's still nice and mild here in Calgary, but I looked at the forecast. I think it's going to get cooler. I think I saw -20 somewhere, heard -20 next week. Okay, so I'm going to do my little balloon. So I'm just putting my darkest shade on the right hand side. Then I'll come in with my mid-tone. And you see I just kind of dab right where I ended that darker color. And I'm going to just almost fill this all the way in. Just leaving a little area there for the lightest shade, which is the R32. There. Hi, Debbie. I don't think they're new. I can't remember. I just know I saw them online and asked Sandy to bring them in for me because I thought they were super cute. I have lots of these little agenda stamps. So we're going to do that one. Like I said, I'm not going to do them all. I'm going to do the ones. I've kind of pre-colored a bunch already and die cut them that we're going to use on the card. So I'll color the ones that we're going to use on the card so you can see what they look like. So, so for this guy now, I'm just going to use I'm not going to use the 4 colors of gray. I'm just going to start with the C3. And you can kind of decide, you can make really, if you want to add like shadows, you can do it. You can do it on the right side, the left side, totally up to you. I don't really have any rhyme or reason. I'm kind of keeping the shadows on the on this guy on the left side just because it kind of makes sense. It's easier to color. You know, I really enjoy my Copics as well, Debbie. That being said, because I am a collector of craft items, let's say, I do have more than one brand of alcohol markers, but I always come back to the Copics. I guess maybe just because I've had these the longest, so I have the most experience using them, that I quite enjoy them. And I don't mind using the brush tip either. Like I know I've seen where people kind of change out their tips to go with like a smaller, I don't know if bullet is the right word, just a smaller tip. And I've tried that, but I don't like it. It just didn't feel right. Okay, and I'm just going to do his bottom of his foot, but I'm coloring that with the C1, and then I'm going to go over it with R20. And then we're just going to do his ears all the same, the inside, the R20. Now our little mouse there, I'm not going to fool around with trying to do anything fancy. I'm just coloring him with W2. So this is a gray as well, but you can see that that's a warm gray. So it reads visually different. Okay, now his hat. And again, I'm using 2 colors here, but you don't need to use 2 colors. You could just use one, and then let's see which one's lighter. There we go, BG34. You could just use 1 color and then just kind of layer over the edge, or sorry, the darker side. Where you want the shadow, you could just add a few layers of that. Okay, and then our hat, or the star, pardon me. I'm just using the Y18 on that. Okay, so I'm also using this guy here. And so why don't we change him? I'm just going to use 1 marker, 1 gray to color this guy. So just to show you that you can still add a little bit of shading even with just using 1 marker. So I'm going to start by kind of adding my color right to the areas that I want to be a little bit darker. And then we'll just go over that a couple of times. I'm going to give that a minute to dry while I do the flower. And super simple. Oh, sorry, I have a habit of holding the caps in my hands. Because with your Copics, when you're not using them, you want to make sure you put the cap back on. You don't want to leave them sitting out, kind of exposed to the air if you're not using them, as you don't want them to dry out. Okay. So there's the little flower. Now I'm going to come back with my C2. We're all collectors. Yes, we are, Debbie. And I'm just going to fill that. I'll go over where it was darker again and then fill it all the way in. And you don't have to add any shading at all on these. You could just take your gray. So it's kind of subtle. I don't know if you can quite see it on camera, that we've got a little bit of shading here and here and here. And so I could go back over this if I wanted it to be a little more obvious as well. Just lay down a little bit of color there. But you can see that looks really sweet, just even with the 1 marker. So you don't have to have a huge collection to do your coloring. And these images are nice and small, so they're super easy to color. Okay, so let's see. I think we can color. I think I use this guy too, so we'll color him as well. Are any of you colorists? Do you enjoy? Do you enjoy coloring images? Or are you more of, do you prefer florals? Do you like these cute animals? Or What's your preference? Because I'm a collector, I'm an equal opportunity. I love coloring everything. Although I do sometimes struggle with florals. I'm not a great, I guess I should practice my flicking more, because I always think florals look really pretty when, you know, you can kind of really show how the leaves bend and the petals, you know, how you can use your markers to really show off just how the shape of the flower that you're coloring. I'm not great at that. I need a lot more practice on that. Okay, I'm just checking to see which other guy I used. And I use this guy with the heart. We'll do his body first. All right. Yeah, I do find though I need to slow down on my collecting because it's getting hard to actually get to using the products. So all right. So super fun. So I like these types of, actually I think was going to say I like the animals that, you know, are very clearly one solid color, because it's so easy to, it's quick and easy to color them. I think the first set of agenda stamps, this has been a pretty popular line for Mama Elephant. I think I got reindeer first, because I'm a sucker for Christmas. And then I had to get the snowmen after the reindeer. Snowmen I really like because they are crazy easy to color. All right, so we'll do the heart here. Whoops. Same with the R24. And then R5. And you could just fill this all in with one color. If you wanted, you don't have to add any little, it's very subtle. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I dug out of my stash my glitter pen here, my Lawn Fawn glitter pen. Let's see. Oh, there we go. So you might have a Wink of Stella, that works as well. I don't use this one much, so I thought I just want to use it up. So I'm going to go over the heart with a little bit of glitter. Same thing here. It's very subtle. You'll kind of see, it looks kind of wet right now, so once it dries, then you'll see that shine a little bit more. And then I'll add a little bit to the star, and we'll add a little bit here. And sometimes I like to, on my images, I might like to go over them again and add a little bit of, it's kind of fun to add a little bit of detail, so I might add a few little dots to just add some interest and dimension. Just play around with that. Or you could also add a little bit of glitter as well. Just add a little shine. Okay, so those are our elephants. Okay, So now let's work on, I'm just going to slide my markers out of the way and see if I can zoom back out, because it'll be easier. Okay, bear with me, guys. Sorry if the camera shakes a little. I don't know why I struggle so much with this. Well, we'll have to make it work. It's not cooperating. Okay. So now we're going to move on to, okay, no, this is not going to work. Unless I adjust my, I might have to adjust my, okay. Okay, everybody, if you get dizzy, close your eyes, because I'm going to just adjust the height here so that, since I can't figure out how to zoom out, I'm just going to raise this up. Okay. There we go, a little better. All right. Tighten up my, all right. Let's see if I can, oh, you guys are still there, good. Sorry, I clicked on something and I thought that I made you go away. This really isn't rocket science, Rosie, but for me it is. I can't really raise my camera up anymore. Okay, well, we're gonna have a close-up view of stenciling, everybody. Okay, so what I'm going to be using is, there we go, the bricked window, 3D embossing folder, and the coordinating stencils. So what we're going to do is make a little brick window for our elephants to peek through or hang out around. This is going to be a birthday card. So let me just grab my stenciling cardstock. Okay, sorry guys, I can't figure out how to zoom out my camera now, so bear with me. So I'm just going to trim this piece of paper slightly so that my cardstock fits in my stamp wheel. Okay, we'll slide that there and out. Okay. All right, well, I'm trying this one more time to make this a little more comfortable for your viewing pleasure, but my phone is not cooperating. Well, things you don't figure out until you're live. Yay! Okay, that's better. All right. Whew. Thanks for your patience, guys, while I try to work that out. Okay, so we're going to start with, so the stencils are numbered. As you can see here on the photo, our little bricked window goes largest to smallest. So I'm going to follow kind of that little color, how she's layered the colors from lightest to darkest. But I'm going to make this kind of like a red brick. So I'll show you what I mean with the colors that I've chosen. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure my paper's kind of in the corner there. And what I want to do, what I'm making sure is that I've got my stencil kind of butted up on this edge and this edge. So because this is a layering stencil, I want to make sure that when I put down the next layer that it's going to line up correctly. So my paper's stuck down, perfect. So I went through my stash and just kind of pulled out a variety of reds. I know this one doesn't have a label, but it's Festive Berries. I'm not sure what happened when I bought that one. It was label-less. Okay, so we're going to start with the lighter color.
And I'm just using a smaller, like a micro blending brush, just because the areas here are a little bit smaller. Thought it'd be easier to get the color in than with a foam blending tool. Okay, so I'm just making this this edge towards the inside of our bricks a little bit darker, and then kind of lighten it towards the outside. So this is going to be a loose interpretation of a red brick look. All right. So I'm just adding that ink. And this is the Distress Oxide. So you could use any ink, dye inks, your regular, just plain Distress ink, whatever you have in your stash. Okay, so there's our first layer. That's stencil 1. Now stencil 2, so you can see, we'll just put down our next layer of color. So I'm gonna now go to the fired brick. And I'm just using the same blending tool because it's kind of in the same color family. This blending tool, I will kind of give it a good clean after, just because I only have one of these this size. So I do use it with other inks. If I had multiples of this blending tool, then I might just designate this one for Oxides, but you do not want to mix your blending brushes with, like for example, using a regular dye ink and then trying to use a Distress Oxide with the blending tool. Those two inks do not play well together. So if you've got a lot of Oxide inks, then you're going to want to have dedicated blending brushes for those, or separate foams if you use the Tim Holtz foam blending tools. Okay, so look how pretty that is. So now we'll move on to layer 3. And so because I don't have, I'm just using 3 colors, so I think what I might do is kind of go back with this, with the Festive berries, and then I'm going to add some fired brick on top just to give it a bit of a different tone. We'll see if that works, or if it just looks like I added fired brick over top of anything. Okay. Oh yeah, that gives us a different tone for sure. Okay, so I'm making my little bricked window here go from lightest to darkest towards the center. All right. Blend, blend, blend. Let's see what it looks like. Oh yeah, that does look like a little bit of a different color. I'm just going to add a little bit more fired brick over top. Boy, this is very satisfying to do this and then pull the stencil off. Just seeing it come together. This would be really fun. This stencil, if you wanted to kind of use it, make it like a wishing well or a pond, it could be like a pond that's got that, you know, some interlocking brick around it. Okay, lots of different ways to use it. All right, so now we're going to go to our darkest tone, which in this case is Aged Mahogany. See, I should put that where you can see it. All right. Maybe I'll move this down here so I'm not always reaching in front of the camera. All right. So super quick and easy to use. And after, I'll just spray the stencils with, you could either use water, or I like to use rubbing alcohol to clean the ink off the stencil. All right. Ooh, a walkway, Debbie. That's a good idea. That's a very cool idea. Hi, Judy. Nice to see you. All right. Oh, I like that. Look at that. I love that color change in between with just mixing the two colors together. Awesome. Okay. So now what we're going to do, we've got that all inked up. Just gonna put my inks aside here. I am going to die cut this first and then emboss it. Let's see. I'm saying that now, but we'll see what happens when I try to line up the dies. You can, I mean, you could emboss this first and then use your stencils to color it and then die cut it. I'm going to see how hard it's going to be to line this up because I might want to emboss this first. I think I'm going to want to emboss it first before die cutting, or I could cheat. So that looks to me, okay. So just to show you here, if you look at, we have this little brick here that kind of pops out. That's how I kind of lined up this stencil. But you know what? I want to do it the other way. And there's a reason. Because I want to show you, if you're wondering, if you're thinking, well, of course you would die cut it first and then emboss it. I'm going to show you that it'll work either way. Okay, I just have to make sure I have this the right way. All right. So I might have to trim this off, but yeah, I'm going to trim that up just a little bit. It's a little bit too large to line it up in the embossing folder. Okay. And this is where I always, yeah, that's going up. Yeah, that's the right way. Okay. So I'm looking for, this little brick is kind of sticking out in my mind. This one that kind of pops out a little bit. So I'm going to look for that in this embossing folder to line up my image here. Okay. So we've got that little bit of adjustment. Sometimes you get it in and then you just have to give it a little tiny twist. All right, I think we've got that in. I will grab my machine. All right, it's just behind me here. And so I'm not sure if, because I haven't looked in a while, if Spellbinders has updated their embossing sandwich sheet. But for these Lisa Horton folders, you're going to want your base plate, your F shim, if you've got a Spellbinders machine. Then you're going to place your embossing folder in here, and then your D adapter plate. Okay, and then we're going to run it through, and that will give you, that's the perfect embossing sandwich, and it just slides through, no difficulties whatsoever. All right, and there we go.
we've got our embossed piece, and now we're going to die cut it. Okay, I know you're thinking it's kind of crazy to emboss it and then die cut it, because you're going to squish you're going to flatten it out. But I've got a way. Let me just find that guy. He's right over here. But I want to do it this way just to show you that you can do it either way. So we're going to align that right there. And I'm just going to get a little bit more tape. I just want to make sure it doesn't shift in any way, shape, or form. Okay, and we're gonna do the center too, because when we put this card together, I want to be able to see through that, so you can see the pattern paper that we're going to be using. Probably don't need this much tape, but better to be safe than sorry. Hello, Christy. Okay, so now we need our basic sandwich, which is our A platform. B, I've got my magic mat that I use, our die, and then I just wanted to show you then with my top cutting plate. So I've got this little piece of plastic. So this is actually a, you know, when you get those clear plastic tablecloths, I guess, if you want to put them to protect the wood on your table. So I bought a package of that. Just comes like whatever size you can find for a table. And then I just cut it down to the size of my cutting plate. And what it does, it just helps, I don't get all the marks of the dies into my cutting plate, except when I forget to use it, or I put it on the wrong side. So yeah, it just seems to kind of extend the life of my top plate. I don't seem to get as much warping. So not my idea. I saw it on a YouTube video and it works quite well. All right, so we'll run that through. Cling foam. Oh, that's a good question, Debbie. I'd have to ask Sandy. If you just send her an email, Debbie, actually, tell her what you're looking for. Or actually, you know what? I will remember this. I'm going to just jot this down, and I will let her know that you're looking for it. I'm not sure. I'm sure it must be available somewhere. And if she can get her hands on it, she can order some for you. So I will let her know that you're looking for that. Okay. So we've got that die cut, but oh dear, where did our embossing go? Well, we'll just grab that embossing folder again. If I can remember where I put it. There it is. Because it wouldn't be a Facebook Live without me losing something. So we are going to run this through again. So I'm going to just pop this back in. We'll line it up with there we go. Okay, there we go. And we'll just run that through one more time. So I'm fairly certain you could just die cut this first. That's probably what I normally would do. But I just thought for the sake of this live, just to kind of show you how you can just go back in. You can do this with anything. So there we go. Now we've got our embossing back. Okay, so I'm just going to move my machine out of the way, and then I can show you. Then we'll put the card together. So I will grab my elephants that I colored a couple of days ago. Oh, that's something on that piece of paper, on that piece of cardstock. And then I pulled out a piece of paper from, this is an old lawn fawn. It's the Hello Sunshine 6x6 paper pack. Oh, it was discontinued 5 years ago. Okay. Well, I'll let Sandy know. She can check her sources to see if there's anything out there that's similar. Wow, that's interesting. You'd think somebody would have jumped on the bandwagon to manufacture that, but okay. So I've just taken my A2 card base and folded that, and then I'm going to use this lawn fawn paper. I'm just going to grab my paper trimmer, and we're going to trim it to the same size as the card front. So I want 4 1/4, oops, by 5 1/2, and that's going to go on the front of this card base. Okay, and I have to use liquid glue because I ran out of tape runner. Oh, all things are falling off, and more than likely I'm going to have to use the pin. Let's see. Oh, perfect. I love this glue press. I don't even put the pin. Actually, I usually forget to put the pin in. It just kind of sits like this in its holder all the time. Okay, we're going to slide that on. Good. And now I want some foam tape. Oh, shoot, Debbie. Okay. Well, I'll get Sandy to look. Who knows if we can track any of that down. All right, so I'm going to put some foam adhesive kind of more towards the middle of this because we are going to be tucking our elephants. Some of them inside, some of them outside. Okay. Now, this would be really lovely to use this stencil and folder set if you're wanting to, especially if you like florals, if you've like to craft with florals. It'd be really pretty to kind of have your floral peeking through from here. Let me see if I have one handy. Let's see. This is just to kind of give you an idea, so you could have your kind of spotlight your flower, or, ooh, I got all sorts of ideas now. I'm gonna have to play with this a little bit more. Okay, so I am going to put this guy right in the center here. This would make a really fun shaker card too. I plan to turn this into a birthday card. Okay. So now we can have fun with our elephants. So I think what I'm going to do, just kind of get an idea, because he's looking this way. I'm going to put one over here. I think we're going to put this guy right here. And we're just, yeah, we'll have a couple peeking out here. I think that's cute. All right. I like them kind of peeking like that. But I feel like we're going to add foam to this one. Oh, you're welcome, Debbie. So I find that mine sometimes does get clogged, not badly, just if I've left it sitting out for a while and
like a long while, then I do find that sometimes I need to get the pin, and it's not difficult to unclog, but I do find that I sometimes need to get the pin out. So I did put a little bit of glue back here. I'm gonna have to do it again, just so as I kind of shift this around, then I can, it lets me slide this guy around before the foam tape adheres to the paper and I can't move it. So it just gives me a little wiggle room. Okay, so we're gonna glue this one down flat. But it's never, like, I've never had like a clog, you know, that, oh, I have to take it to the tap and, or take it apart or anything. It's just kind of, I think sometimes if there's glue in that little nozzle, then it can get, and I find that happens mostly when I'm just about out of glue. That seems to be the time when, if it's gonna, you know, if I need to get the pin out a few times, that's when I have to. So, oh, these are so stinking cute. Okay, we're gonna pop up this guy, but I think I'm gonna have him sit right over here. I'm not sure if I'm in love with, you know, a heart next to a heart. Oh yeah, I'll leave it like that. That's cute. Okay, I am going to cut my foam a little bit bigger, and I'm going to kind of double it on this guy that's gonna settle in the corner here. Okay, so then, yeah, actually I do like that. That's cute like that. I'm gonna put a little bit of liquid glue here and then a little bit here. So I've doubled that up, so then, actually, you know what? I can put a teeny tiny piece of foam adhesive on that balloon, since I doubled up my foam tape. And this is that Altenew foam tape. I love this stuff because it cuts so easy. I can cut like teeny tiny slivers of foam tape if need be. There we go. That's cute. And then I'm gonna just glue that guy right down on top there. And the one thing I did not prepare was a sentiment. So we'll see if I can, I'm gonna see if I can find, and then I'm just gonna put this little square I have left here right under this side that's kind of hanging off the edge, so that, there. I know that guy isn't gonna fall or go anywhere. Okay, let me check. I'm gonna check my sentiment stash here and see if I have something that we can use on this card that makes sense. If not, I'll have to dig through. Okay, I've got some, let's see if we have black and white. I have gold, but I don't know if I'm in love with gold foil on here. Let's see, happy birthday. I'm not in love with that sentiment, with the size of it. Yeah, I agree, Debbie. I love the Altenew tape. Okay, do we have happy birthday? I think it's a little too long. Let's see. These are a whole bunch I stamped for. Oh, this one might be cute. That might work. Are you referring, Debbie, to the that new formulation they have, the fresh dye inks? I do have a few of them, but I'm not switching over like what I have. Kind of the ones that I have, I kind of got just for part of the last time I was invited to an Altenew release.
they sent me some of the fresh dye inks. So I don't mind today is your day. I kind of like the black. Let's see. Have a great day. Blessings. But I do like it. I don't plan to replace it. I guess once I need to re-ink the Altenew inks that I have, then I'll just buy the fresh dye re-inker. I think this one's good. I think this is the winner. Enjoy your special day. Oh, Valentine's Day would be a good one. You know what? It actually would with the hearts, wouldn't it? Okay, I think you're right. And because, oh, you are so smart, Debbie, because look, I hadn't even really paid attention because this pattern paper has little hearts on it too. Okay, sold. It's going to be Happy Valentine's Day, which means I'm going to have to dig through my stash to see if I have a Happy Valentine's Day. I must have a Lawn Fawn one somewhere. So this is as finished as the card is going to get today. All right. Which is actually probably the most finished I've gotten a card. I've got a card to during a Facebook Live. Usually I kind of color something and say, okay, I'll show you guys later. All right. So that is our card. I'm going to dig out a sentiment and then add that to here, and I will post the finished card in the Facebook group, in the Scrap Shots paper crafting group. So we've used our little elephant agenda. We've used the Lisa Horton bricked window, embossing folder and stencil. So super fun. So keep your eyes peeled for more samples using this embossing folder and stencil. Awesome. Well, thanks for hanging out with me, everyone. It was nice to have some folks to chat to. Oh, sorry, Deb, I just thought you have used a gallon of undo. Oh, me too. Oh, I didn't even realize they had changed their inks. Yeah, that's unfortunate, Debbie. It is unfortunate. Yeah, sorry about that. And the worst part is you collect them, they change them, but then if you can't get re-inkers, I know Altenew said they're not going to, they're not making any more of their crisp dye ink pads, but they are, I think they're still making the re-inkers. But then, like I said, you can use the new ink formulation on your old ink pads with Altenew. So you're not really, I don't think the pad itself has changed other than the shape of it. Anywho, all right. Well, everyone have a wonderful Thursday, and I will see you next week. Take care, everyone. Bye.